Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Okay. We've just watched a video first today, a little video. Ever said this is a poem, but when I wrote it, I didn't consider it's a poem because I don't know how to write poems. But this is what I wrote last night. That's why I found out that you were not asleep. Because of her. So I wanted you to read this. Okay. Because of her, I came to this world. Because of her, I had food and clothes when I was little. Because of her, I was able to attend university. Because of her, I gave up to work in England. Because of her, I became a vegetarian. Because of her, I understand being sick but not suffering. Because of her, I know what is being aware of death approaching. Because of her, I began to study the Buddha's teachings. Because of her, I understand she has given me the biggest gift, this human life. Because of her, I know what is gratitude. Because of her, I know what is determination to strive forward. Because of her, I learned how to be compassionate towards those who have harmed me. Because of her, I can continue to write an endless list. Today, I remember you. I thank you. I'm forever grateful to you, my mom. Guess who? Guess who? Show the picture, please. Guess who was me? Yeah, you know, right? Yeah, that was that was how many years ago? Could be 60 years ago. I think I was 2 or 3 years old. I really don't know when this picture was taken. Probably when I was 2 years old. Tansifu, you remember? No? Nobody recall. I think it might be 2 years old. That's what the other sister told me. I was probably, or my brother Johnny told me, the one next to me, that is little Johnny. He said you're probably 2 years old. He said it last year when I showed this picture to my dad. I wrote that poem last night. Today is my birthday. I seldom tell people that it's my birthday because I never celebrate my birthday. But I told you today because I'm grateful. Last night when I wrote this poem, the tears just streamed down. And I thought to myself, what was it? Is it grief? There is no grief. There was no grief. What happened? Why are you crying? I was asking myself, I couldn't find any reasons. I don't know. Still now, I don't know. What was it? I thought I dealt with it, and I'm sure I have dealt with the passing of my mom. I think it was the, I really don't know. Maybe you can tell me some reasons.
Gratitude can do that.
I think so too. So today I read something and I wanted to share with you. That was what the Buddha said about gratitude to parents. He said, mother and father, compassionate to their family, are called Brahma, like the highest beings of beings. First teachers, those worthy of gifts from their children. So the wise should pay them homage, honor, with food and drink, clothing and bedding, anointing and bathing, and washing their feet. Performing these services to their parents, the wise are praised right here, and after death, rejoice in heaven. This is what the Buddha actually taught to the Sangha. And also, he said, a being who has not been your mother at one time in the past is not easy to find. A being who has not been your father, your brother, your sister, your son, your daughter at one time in the past is not easy to find. Why is that? From an inconceivable beginning comes transmigration. I think I was emotional because I think maybe because, I don't know, maybe because I think I did not do enough while my mother was here. But she has passed on now 31 years ago. And this kind of emotion I seldom experience, even with the passing of my father. So I'll have to wait until next year when it comes to his birthday. But I guess because the older I become, the more I walk on this path, the more I see the sufferings in the world, and the more I see the afflictions in people, I appreciate more and more, really, of the life that my mother has given me. Really, I think that's the emotional part. So that's why, yeah, I think I just wrote that poem last night. It just came out just like just like waves just came out from nowhere.
That's how poems happen.
Yeah, it happened by itself. I wrote it in Chinese first, and I translated it into English. And so I posted it at 12 o'clock. And then I wanted to post it because I wanted to honor my mom. And I think the only way to honor her is really to keep her legacy in my life, and to keep walking on this path, and cultivate the parami, because she has given me this wonderful life. Gratitude. Mm-hmm. I think in the modern world, a lot of people are lacking gratitude because we are so independent. Materially, we can be very independent, we think. but we don't know that we are so much dependent on others. Our clothes, our food, our cars, the air, the water, our houses, our phones, all these gadgets. We depend on so much on others, but we have an illusion that we are so independent that we don't need others for our own existence. So when people are thinking like this, when people have this kind of mindset, it's actually very difficult for people to have gratitude, for people to really appreciate what others are doing, not really just for them. If they could start to realize that people are doing it for them, then it's easy to have appreciation and gratitude. But if not, then at least if they could realize that we are so much interconnected, and our existence really depends on others to make it happen, then we would start to appreciate more and more of people, of others, even though they might be not on good terms with us, or they may be not our friends, or they may be not our same race, or same congregation, or practice the same thing. Doesn't matter. As long as we start to realize that we are really totally interconnected, and we are really not quite independent as we think. But nowadays, that independence, I can make my own living. I make big money. I live in a big house. I've got everything. I don't need to work and nothing. And so that actually builds up a very deep illusion. And that illusion actually is a hindrance for people to develop, to appreciate, and to be grateful. Don't you think that?
Yes.
And I think especially the younger generations nowadays are really getting worse on this. Us being older, I think we appreciate a little bit more than the younger one, because the younger ones were born with the golden spoon, with the silver spoon. They hardly had to fight for their life. And we come from Asia, and we come from India. We have had difficult life when we were little, when we were younger. And now we are so blessed to have so much space and so much food and clean air and clean water and all that. We forget all the difficulties that our ancestors have gone by, have really put the effort in, like this gentleman said, right? Our ancestors. And he said it very, very correctly. Every day is a day to be grateful. Every moment is the moment to be grateful of, because we don't know how long we're going to live. We don't know when will the last breath come, right? So we have to be very sensitive. We have to be very mindful. When you teach your children, when you teach your students, they need to really understand the interdependency of human nations, of human beings. Yeah, we can hide ourselves. We can seclude ourselves. We can, just build a cocoon, around our life, and not to relate with anybody else. But still, even though you don't relate, but still, we are connected. We depend on others. And if the younger generation realizes this more and more, hopefully the world will change towards a better, brighter future. Yeah. Quiet.
Well said.
Anybody wants some? Welcome back, Lisa. Long time no see. Anybody want to share something?
I think it is really very difficult to appreciate or be grateful for something when you don't have the other side to, or when you haven't experienced the suffering, you know, the having to wonder if you're going to have food, you know, the next day, or you know, you're going to have a shelter for yourself.
Yeah.
So it's hard to, now that you have like with our kids, it's very, we try not to be so lavish with them.
Yeah.
But it's hard to instill the idea of not having.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they don't have that experience
Yeah.
of having to.
Yeah, that's why I always.
They have enough or not.
That's why I always recommend parents, if they can afford, is to take those kids to really developing country or underdeveloped country. I have had friends who are really well off, and they started taking the children when they were very young to deep mountains in China, and they can see children walk hours with straw shoes, shoes made up with straw, and with a straw basket, and what they pay for school fees are yams. They use yams to pay for school fees because they don't have money. And sometimes if the harvest is not good, they don't even have yams to pay the school fee. And so these kids, they saw it. They realized that when they come back, they realize, wow, they go back into a big apartment place, and then they have a maid to cook breakfast, to cook dinner, and they have a maid to wash their clothes, and they have their father and mother to send them off to school in a car, or a maid walk them to school if they don't have a chauffeur. At least, or they have enough food on their table. At least they have clothes to wear. And these kids don't have anything. They don't have much. And I remember my friend, he used to go and build some school of hope in China. And that was 15 years ago, where he got a whole bunch of pencils. And then he was giving it out to all these young kids, little kids, And there was this little kid at the end of the queue. He refused to take the pencil. And no matter how my friend urged him to take, he refused to take. So after they all left home, gone home, and my friend asked the teacher, what happened to that kid, only kid who refused the pencil? And the teacher said, because they had a very bad harvest this year. And so there was not enough produce to pay school fees. So he felt that he did not deserve a pencil. And so next day he came to school, and my friend actually took the pencil to him and said, you take this pencil and you study and you work hard and you repay me in the future after you have gone to university, taking school, and you repay me by serving other children. So that was a great lesson for that kid, and that kid actually has graduated from university now. And and then he went back to the village to become a teacher. So that's the thing that as parents you could do that. Of course, it entails a lot of financial undertaking, right? But it could be done. And better do it when they are young. But your children are okay, not too bad.
We're pretty lucky.
Yeah.
But materially, it's more difficult to have that understanding come across to them.
Yeah.
But in other ways, You can do it in other ways. So like, because Roshan she just got a job at McDonald's, so she's our oldest one. And I had a really neat conversation with her in the car on the way back. Because I said, you know, I told her about Tensifu. I said, you know, I've been at Palam, and when something really great happens, Tensifu was so happy, and she says, oh, come on, I have to go thank the Buddha. And so we go and we bow and we say thank you. And so I told this to Roshan, and I said, you know, this is one of those times, like, yeah, you got the job because, you know, you're a great kid, you get good grades, and all these things that are great about her, but there's other reasons that you got it too. And so you need to think about, you know, to have that kind of appreciation for all the people in your life, right?
Yeah.
Like your grandparents and your parents, not because we want it, but just so that she starts to understand, and your siblings, and that you're here and you're able to actually do this, and you have people that can drive you to the job, and right,
pick
like
you
all
up
those
after
things.
work. Yeah.
So, and she really actually thought about it.
Good.
Yeah. So I think there's opportunities there, and they're not necessarily ones that look on the material aspect of being grateful, but
Good. Good. Good.
There's an organization that actually started in Abbotsford called Walk for Water, and it's a very long story, but there was a young boy in Africa whose village didn't have any water.
Yeah.
And so you fast forward, he has grown up, made a connection with somebody in Abbotsford, and now all over Canada. They're not even sure, they might be even in the United States, they get kids who do these walk days where they get people to sponsor them, and they walk, and they take the money, and then they build a well in Africa.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about this one is, we did it this last year at our school. They actually had jugs of water.
Oh.
And they had the kids carry them.
Oh, that's good.
So that they could, and
They could
they saw the
understand, they could
video
see
of
you. Yeah.
these kids who had to carry water to
Yeah.
the villages.
Yeah.
And we read the stories, some saw the videos, and then when they actually had to carry it, wow, that was powerful.
That's powerful.
Yeah. So
It's great. Good. So this passage I wanted to share with you. Let's see. He said, oh gosh, 100 years. Where's the 100 years? My eyes are getting. Lost it again. Sorry. Go ahead. Any more sharing? Yeah. I tell you, monks, there are two people who are not easy to repay. Which two? Your mother and father. Even if you were to carry your mother on one shoulder and your father on the other shoulder for 100 years, and were to look after them by anointing, massaging, bathing, and rubbing their limbs, and they were to defecate and urinate right there on your shoulders, you would not in that way pay or repay your parents. If you were to establish your mother and father in absolute sovereignty over their great earth, abounding in the 7 treasures, you would not in that way pay or repay your parents. Why is that? Mother and father do much for their children. They care for them, they nourish them, they introduce them to this world. But anyone who rouses this unbelieving mother and father, settles and establishes them in conviction, rouses his unvirtuous mother and father, settles and establishes them in virtue, rouses his stingy mother and father, settles and establishes them in generosity, rouses his foolish mother and father, settles and establishes them in discernment. To this extent, one pays and repays one's mother and father. That means if your mother and father do not have enough material support them materially. If they have enough material support them spiritually. give them the Dhamma, so that they could also practice. So I think I am very fortunate. I am what I am today because of my mom. As you read, because of her, I became a vegetarian. You knew that story. That happened in 1984. Because of her, I know being sick, but not being suffered, because she had that cancer, and at the end of her life, she was still up and about. She was still in her very balanced mind and helping people around her in the hospital. And she knew that she was going to pass. So because of all this, that really dawned on me. Really, the little practice that she did was sufficient enough to carry her through this difficult stretch of life. And that really, I think that really actually was the biggest impact on my life. That 1.5 to 2 years between 1984 and 1986, that was the biggest impact on my life. And that's how I think really transformed me from being, I was a religious person before that. I went to churches, but never became so religious and diligent until actually my mom presented me with the sickness and how she got over it, and then how she passed on, and then how actually I benefited after she passed on, because I recited sutra for her, and I remember the sutra, the teachings. And so when I had the big car accident myself, the serious car accident myself, I remember the sutra. And that's how it actually hit me and woke me up. Because I said, wow, this is powerful. What kind of practice? This kind of practice actually can bring my mom to a very peaceful end, and also could help me to come out of alive in such a serious car accident. What's going on? So that's how I became so curious, and that's how actually I pursue to study and read about the Buddhist teachings. So it all happened because of my mom. So that's why this poem is said, because of her. So I think we all have our own story, why we came to the Buddha, why we came to the Dhamma. And I think it's worthwhile to actually go back to look at that story. And you might find out a very key person that you need to be very grateful to. You probably have one key person or two key persons that you're grateful to bring you the Dhamma, and and the Dhamma that benefits you right now and bring you to whoever you are right now. Right? Anybody wants to say anything? Any more sharing to say? Sorry, I interrupted you just now.
I just want to say it's just there's just not enough gratitude. You just can't have enough gratitude. You can't be grateful enough. It's just so many things to be grateful for.
Yeah.
It seems impossible to be grateful for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard to because there's always something else that always kind of interferes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always another reason, because your other distraction or or there's defilement that
Yeah,
keeps
yeah,
you
yeah,
kind of in the loop,
yeah,
that you
yeah.
kept forgetting that
Yeah,
there's the other good aspect of
yeah, yeah,
where you're at.
yeah.
So it's
Never mind, we just allow yourself to be distracted and you constantly bring yourself back.
yeah.
That's the only way that we can do it.
It's just a constant practice.
It's a constant, forever practice. Is really, you know, we all have defilements, we all have afflictions, we all have our habits, and we keep constantly wandering off. And the only thing is, you become mindful of it and you bring it back. You just constantly bring it back. And I think the best way to actually show your gratitude, the best way to be grateful is to really start your best to serve others as much as possible. You know, in whatever way that you can, without any expectations. Just keep, you know, serving and serving and serving.
And that's the other aspect of it. That I constantly have to sort of check, you know, what is your intention constantly of what you're doing. Like, is there anything behind it? You know, there's always like, well, I do this because I want something, or I do this because I need something, or you know, so it's a constant.
No, never mind.
Never mind.
We are all human beings. We are all human beings, but we need to start from somewhere, right? We need to start from somewhere, even though you start with an intention. At least you start, and it's a good thing that you say, I constantly check myself. So you constantly check, oh, this time I start with such an intention. Next time, maybe such an intention will not be as strong as the last time. That's how we improve ourselves. It's very difficult to do it unconditionally because we are human beings and we carry such a heavy baggage in our shoulders. So it's very difficult to do it right away without any expectations, without any intentions, just wholesome, you know. It's very difficult. If we can do that, we won't be here. Right? We won't be here. So, sorry, somebody clicked me. So we won't be here, but at least we realize and we keep constantly checking ourselves. Shut up. We keep constantly checking ourselves, and that's the only way that we can do, and make full use of the opportunities all the time. If the opportunities is here and you're not grabbing the opportunities, like the man said, you're not using your life fully.
But I think that's the part.
Yeah.
There's more as I get older too. This seems like there's more and more urgency.
Yeah.
And you know, because you see that, oh, you're starting to break down.
I know.
So,
I guess I felt that a lot this couple of years. Just keep thinking, oh, this whole body really. But I cannot blame him. I cannot blame it. It's getting old. I need to look after it. So yeah. I guess that's imminency, and since that time is running out. Never mind. We keep pulling our wheat from the field. We just have to keep pulling it off. You know, if we can pull 3, we can pull 3. We pull 3. If we can just pull 2, just be happy of pulling 2 weeds. And when we get to 70s, 80s, we can only pull 1. Just be happy. Just be happy that you can only pull 1 weed out. Even if when we get to 80, we might not be able to pull anymore. We just sit and look. Weed, please don't grow. Right? Yeah, right. That's what your mom did with the garden. With your garden.
She just directs me to the weeds.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
On the topic of gratitude, thank you for your teaching.
Oh no, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks the Buddha. And I think the most important person to thank is our teacher, my Sifu, who brought me here. Yeah. Forever grateful to all the opportunities that I could, be in such wonderful contact with such wonderful people. You guys are really wonderful, really. It's a solid, solid, even small, but solid sandana. And you can see how long does it take to put this up? That long, right? So long, right? But never mind, no effort is wasted. No effort is wasted. You just have to keep on doing.
I don't know, we've been here for 4 years, and the longer I've been here, the more, I guess, the more grateful I am for having this opportunity. I thought maybe, it'll wear out, but the longer I've been here, the longer I feel like, the opportunity to grow is even bigger.
Yeah.
Like it's not narrowing down.
No,
So
no, it never be.
It's like
It will never be. No.
So it's kind of.
It should be like this.
Yeah.
If it's narrowing down, then it's wrong.
In a way it's scary, but it's also, it kind of comes together, being aging and kind of pushing me to kind of be more, what's the word, receptive receptive to things. Because
To changes, to aging, more receptive, stronger, and less susceptible.
Less susceptible.
Yeah. Less susceptible.
Slowly.
Yeah. Okay. That means use one word to describe those is resilience, I think. Right? Resilience. Build up that resilience in our mind. That is less susceptible and stronger and more receptive. Resilience.
What that have to do with the... Sorry, I'm taking so much time. I guess it's because of the meditation. You're building the mind to be stronger.
Yeah. And also the group practice that we do all the time is invisibly so powerful. Invisibly, it could be so nourishing and so benefiting. Invisibly, you can only experience that when you really put your heart into the practice for a few years. You come together every week. Then when all of a sudden this life there's a calamity come up, and how much you are more able to deal with it. Of course, it's very difficult to compare because you have spent so much time, 4 years, sitting every Tuesday. Come sit every Tuesday, whenever you have time. And there is no other test group is that, oh, well, I don't sit, and then the same calamity comes up. And you cannot compare because there is no two test group, right? We are so unique, each of us. Each of us is so unique. So I rather don't risk myself walking on that path. I'd rather invest here, make sure. I'm sure the wise one and his teachings have lasted that many thousand years definitely cannot lead me to a wrong place, right? And from all the ancestors, teachers, that we know that this is the right path. So I'd rather let go of that path and make sure that, the group practice is being kept up with. Yeah. All right. Okay. Let us dedicate our benefits. We bring our awareness back to this body, to this breath. to this mind. For all the benefits that I gathered tonight, that I share with all beings, human, non-human, visible, invisible, big or small, far or near. May they be free of vanity. May they be free of misery. May they start to live in a world with brightness, warmth, experience compassionate love, and be truly happy and free and peaceful. May we wish more and more people will encounter the words of the Buddha. Study them, understand them, practice them. Build the strength to liberate themselves from their own entanglements and attain their true freedom and happiness from their own mind.